So I want to touch base on this because with the NFL schedule release, everyone is talking about one game. One game is the Super Bowl rematch in Week 7 with the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Let me tell you something. No, it is not a rematch, Carlos, because they're not in the Super Bowl. Okay? If the 49ers win, that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove that they should have won the Super Bowl last year. That doesn't prove anything. No, it doesn't prove anything at all. All it does is it proves that they can win in the regular season, but they can't win in the big games because they lost against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are the Super Bowl champs, not the 49ers. I hate this whole, it's a Super Bowl rematch. No, it's not. It's not the Super Bowl. It's Week 7.
You make a point. It's still a rematch. But you do make a point. It is Week 7. On the blip of the whole thing, I'd rather win the Super Bowl than Week 7.
Yes.
So they're good there. KC is starting right out of the gate. Ravens kicking us off this year should be an awesome game.
Yeah.
It's good. I feel like for some reason the NFL just got a lot better this year. And I don't know if it's the draft and all the new quarterbacks coming in. I feel like for myself, it's more exciting than being a Dolphins fan. Playing the Packers on Thanksgiving. Come on, man. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, they played the Packers a couple of years ago on Thanksgiving, too.
They did.
Or no, it wasn't on Christmas. It was Christmas. Yeah, it was Christmas.
Yeah. And then, it's going to be a good year. And you have the Harbaugh brothers going at it.
On Monday night, Week 12. The Harbaugh Bowl is going to be back. And that should be a good game to watch. Now, and it's going to be Week 12. Once you hit Week 10, 11, 12, right in that range, you're really starting to look at, playoff picture, divisional leaders, who's going to win, who's in a spot to win the division, what's the seeding look like in the conference. Now we're really starting to see what teams are standing out to be true contenders for the year and what teams are maybe thinking about next year's draft. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk. My name is David, and I'm just with Carlos tonight. Scooter, he's out traveling. Theo might be having a baby tonight. So, and as you guys can see, hey, we're in a new place right now, man. We're trying to build a little studio here. We're trying to elevate our game a little bit for you guys.
So in the works, we got a little bit of decor to put up, but that'll come very soon. And should look really good most of the time.
Yeah, no, we're excited to continue to try and build this thing, and really we're just trying to have fun with it at the end of the day. But this is the first official episode of the Beardzone Sports Talk. And so, with that being said, if you're new here, we usually just talk football, but now we're going to start touching other sports tonight. And speaking of other sports, man, the NHL playoffs are happening, and they are exciting.
They are. Hockey's already got, it's all about the hits, the bangs, but this is probably one of the best years. Every series that's going on is tight. There's no blowouts. You got the Panthers, Bruins. Panthers get a chance to close it out. They're up 3-2. The Oilers, the Canucks, they're tied up 2-2. But I think the main series out there, two best teams, you have the Carolina Hurricanes and you got the New York Rangers.
Yeah, dude, and this is the funnest thing about the NHL is that you just said it. Every single series that is happening right now, no one's just running. They're making it very, very interesting. But let's talk about the Florida Panthers really quick because they are very good. They're a good hockey team.
They are. I think you have the Rangers number one, the Carolina, the Panthers, but Panthers are definitely that. Man, I watched the other game though, and I think they fought the whole team.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the Bruins were in for it, and they were just fight after fight after fight. But they're an exciting team, and Florida, oddly enough, is known for their hockey team. Doesn't like being and you have the Panthers, but they're a team that they're in it. So it's going to be exciting to see who comes out of that Carolina Rangers, and then has to meet up with the Panthers. That is going to be a dogfight for sure.
I think it's going to be a dogfight, absolutely, for whoever is going into that series. But the Florida Panthers right now are up 3-2 against the Boston Bruins, and they play tomorrow night. So if you're watching this on our Friday release date, so they're going to be playing tonight for everyone listening now, and it should be a really good game. I mean, they've had close games this entire series. I feel. Not one team has really kind of led the way. And dude, it's just they're just dogfights, man.
Yeah, it's going to be as they get going and they start clearing out this round, getting closer to who's going to get that Stanley Cup. You have Dallas on the other side there. That's good. They're playing Colorado. They've got a chance to close that one out as well. So I expect Dallas to close it out. The one that's kind of intriguing is the Oilers and the Canucks a little bit because they're going back and forth.
Yeah,
but they still have to meet up against Dallas, who's kind of that was my hockey team growing up, and now being in Tampa, kind of adopted the Lightning, and you can't help it. Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay was a real thing there for a couple of years here in Tampa. And it is funny that the Florida is literally, it's like the teams in Florida just, I mean, Panthers now obviously swept the floor with the Lightning. They it wasn't a clean sweep. They beat them 4-1, but let's just be real. They beat them.
I think Tampa.
Yeah, they definitely bring it. But you mentioned the Rangers and the Hurricanes, which is an interesting series because it almost looked like that the New York Rangers were going to put it away the other day. And then, they were up 1-0 on the Hurricanes. It seemed like it was, I think they were going into like the second period or the third period, and they were still up 1-0. And they had all the momentum on their side, and the Hurricanes rallied back, beating 3-1 to keep themselves alive.
Yeah, they just won't go away. Like I thought, like with you, the Rangers would have closed this out a couple games ago. Like they just had so much momentum, but Carolina just is not going away. It's going to be a tough game for them, going into Game 6. And I expect them to win that one and push this to a Game 7. It leads to everything that this should go to a Game 7. Game. So it's going to be good. It's a good series. If you're not a hockey fan, I know sometimes it's hard to watch, but this is one of the series to watch.
NHL playoffs. That's how I got into hockey. It was because I started watching the playoffs, and it was just like. And if you're in Tampa and you go to these Lightning games, you know that energy. Like, that stadium is just rocking. I don't know what happens to Ray J because Ray J is never like that. I'm a Bucks fan. But, I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning, man, it's there. They bring the energy. But the Florida Panthers, man, they're fun to watch. And this New York Rangers team, I think that they're going to close it out. I think you're right. I think they're probably going to be a Game 7. It just feels like a Game 7 series with how everything is going, but I think the Florida Panthers should close it out. And in my opinion, I think the Florida Panthers are the one to beat.
Yeah, I mean, they are. I feel like when the Panthers close their series out, and whoever beats in that Knicks Carolina Panthers game, whoever wins that series, I feel like that's just going to take the cup. And kind of part of me wants to root for New York. I feel like there's teams like when they win the championship, and New York hasn't won anything in a little while. So, and now you have the Knicks in the playoffs.
You have the Knicks in the playoffs. So the NBA playoffs are alive and very well as well. And the Boston Celtics, they're on a little bit of a rest now because they were able to close out the series with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They put up a better fight than I was expecting, but I felt like the Boston Celtics should have swept the Cavaliers.
They probably should have. Boston is definitely the top. When you look at that roster between Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those are two elite players. That's why they get those huge $300 million contracts too. So seriously, I think they should. They probably a 4-0. the Cavaliers put up a good fight, which is nice to see them ever since LeBron left. They've been, they've been nothing. So when they lost Donovan Mitchell, that was really it for them. They could have hung it up. That's too big of a scoring piece. And he had a huge game 3 to give them that only win.
Yeah.
So I just don't. I feel like they're definitely that team to beat the East.
Yeah, but to stay in the East, and the touch base on games that are going on right now, the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. Indiana can score with the best of it. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, they are probably one of the best scoring teams this postseason. They can put up big points on the board, but it seems like that if they are inconsistent, like the last game, I think the last game that they played, 18 turnovers, inconsistent shooting, and of course the Knicks capitalized on it and they were able to win. But if the Pacers don't show up on offense, I don't feel like that their defense is good enough to get them into the next round.
No, they're not. They are the top scoring team overall points this season. But they do it in a way like they don't have dynamic score, which is very interesting. Like it's old school team basketball where they have multiple players in double digits. They don't have the Mavericks have Luka, who's averaging 35, 36 a game.
Yeah.
Their top guys only averaging 21 points on there. So, and that's led by Tyrese Halliburton. So they do it in a way where you just can't go into it. Hey, we're going to shut this guy down. But on the flip side, they're one of the worst defensive teams. So, but you're playing the Knicks, and the Knicks aren't known for scoring. So they have Brunson, who when he goes, the Knicks go. And the thing is, he didn't go on their last game, and they got beat pretty bad. So, and when Brunson's really the key for the Knicks to keep it up. They put the game before they take 1, they put up 44, and just will the Knicks to victory. So, it's gonna be interesting.
Should be really interesting. And another good series. I feel like that it doesn't matter what playoffs we talk about, either the NHL or the NBA. We're having a really good series. And talking about good series, Dallas and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dallas is up 3-2 right now. They could close it out. I believe it's tomorrow that they play. So they could close it out. But I mean, they got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Good team. Good overall team. I feel like they're really balancing and leading the Rays Shea Gillis and CGA, man. And honestly, I think that he was wrong for the MVP this year. If you go back and look at his stats, and he was a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year. He was a finalist for the Clutch Player of the Year. Of course, the finalist for the MVP. Joker ended up taking it. He hasn't won 3 years ago.
It's hard because the Joker is such a over. You look at his efficiency over time. Yeah, he's better than all Jordan, LeBron, all those guys. But CGA had a phenomenal year. They say in that defensive player of the year category, you don't see too many players walking both sides of that line. They're good defensively, they're high scorers. You just don't see. I'm with you. I think I would rather see him win it. And OKC's got they got some other players. They have Jalen Williams forward there. They got big Chet Holmgren, all 7'1", 150 pounds level. The guy is, man, he's a beanpole, but it's a 7-footer that moves like a guard. So it's kind of they definitely have got a really good team. It's going to be interesting to see how they pan out as well.
Yeah, but I think the series that everyone is circling right now is the reigning champs, the Denver Nuggets. They were down 2-0 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is an absolute good.
That guy in the first 2 games played out of his mind.
Yes.
They have a picture, and they take half of Jordan's face and his and put it together. And I'm pretty sure that's Jordan's kid. I think it might be. The transition is so smooth.
Yeah.
But they made a mistake with the Timberwolves. They made 2 mistakes. Anthony Edwards started talking a lot of smack to Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
And Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. I can play defense. But he calls out the Joker. In a sense of not like, hey, I'm calling you out personally. He says he doesn't need any help. I got it. I mean, no help.
No, you need help.
Yeah, because you need help. Did it. Joker puts up 35 on him, and then comes back with a 40-point game. Denver wins 3 in a row. They're up 3-2 with a chance to close out tonight.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, man, you're up 2-0. Don't poke the bear.
Don't.
And Anthony Edwards is going to be a great superstar in this league for a while. Rudy's just going to be a defensive player that he is, but there's a reason why they're defending champs. I mean,
There is.
They got it all. Like, that team is stacked. They poked the bear. They poked the Joker.
They did poke the Joker. I just see like the scene from Batman where the Joker is walking away from the exploding hospital.
Yeah.
And just like, just very nonchalant because that's what Joker is. I mean, we all know the videos that went around viral last year on how he just wanted to get back home to his horses and. He didn't want to go to the parade. He didn't want to do any of that.
What do you think about winning the NBA championship? That's part of my job. I just want
to go. Yeah, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I'm doing my job. But the Nuggets are up 3-2. They are actually playing right now as we speak. So if they can close it out tonight, it should.
I think they need to. I think they need to close it out. The last thing you want to do is give a young team or a young player some confidence. If Anthony Edwards has a good game, Gobert does have some sex. They got some success against Joker. They got Carl Towns Anthony.
Yeah.
Like, going in Game 7 is a crapshoot. When you go into a Game 7, to me, nothing. I mean, home court advantage does matter, but it's Game 7. It's do or die. Yeah. And if Denver, being the veteran team that they are, I think they'll close it out tonight. But if they don't,
they should. But they're losing right now. It's halftime right now. We're looking at a 59-40 Minnesota Wolves.
So they're up
Timberwolves. They're up 19 right now at halftime. So I mean, their backs are up against the wall. I know that Mike Conley. I think that he was playing tonight, but he has been dealing with that calf injury. So a lot of the weight's been going on to Anthony Edwards. Not to say that Anthony Edwards can't necessarily carry that because the guy's an absolute beast on the court. But Joker is next level, and if you, like you said, if you poke the bear, you're going to get what's going to, you're going to get.
Still going to put my money on Denver. I think experience goes a long way. They've been in this situation already with the Lakers, last year and then this year again. So they're a tough team that knows how to battle, but can't count on a young, cocky superstar.
No,
and Edwards is that guy, and he'll create that buzz, and he's infectious to his teammates. So. But Conley will make a difference if they get to Game 7 and he's not healthy. It's definitely going to it could hurt. Calf injuries are always they just linger. They're pain. Like, they can play through the pain. I mean, Game 7.
It's Game 7, man. Your chance to punch the ticket into the conference final. To go up against whoever wins out of Denver and or not Denver, but Dallas and OKC. So it should be a really good series. I'm always like I don't know if Minnesota is necessarily the underdogs, but I feel like I want to say that they are because they're going up against the national champs or the reigning champions. So like I always like to see unless if it's my team, I don't want to see back to back. Like when we had that, I feel like it was like a 5 or 6 year run where it was every single year Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors, and I was like, can we please just get someone new? So but should be a lot of fun. We're going to continue to cover all of the playoffs as they're happening. We're going to continue to try and dive in a little bit more. But if you're a veteran for this podcast, our sport is definitely football. But we just want to branch out. We want to get a new audience. We want to talk to new people and get roasted in the comments. So about something new.
We do more than football. I mean,
yeah.
If Gronk know that not real money, we know there's other sports. We got this.
Exactly. So, but let's go to the NFL. Let's go to our bread and butter because the NFL schedule has come out. A lot of teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if you saw their schedule, but it's tough. If there's ever going to be a year that Mike Tomlin doesn't have a winning season, it might be this season.
No, it's not. As soon as you do, they find a way to win. Doesn't matter. So, I mean, when I saw Kenny Pickett that losing season, but they are in a tough conference.
Yeah.
So they've got to go through that juggernaut, play those teams twice a year. So they've got a tough conference. Their added schedule's tough. But it's Pittsburgh. They're tough, man. Meaning,
And they had a phenomenal draft.
yeah, no, they did. They had a good offseason. They get Patrick Queen.
Yeah.
Linebacker core with TJ Watt.
Yeah.
I think it was going to be tough.
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to count against Mike Tomlin. They're almost kind of like the Dallas Cowboys in the AFC East, right? Because like everyone wants to see them lose just because they want to see Mike Tomlin win the season. Maybe not everyone. I don't think Pittsburgh is as hated as the Dallas Cowboys, but that's just the Dallas Cowboys. So, but there's the okay. So I want to touch base on this because with the NFL schedule release, everyone is talking about one game. One game is the Super Bowl rematch in Week 7 with the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. Let me tell you something. No, it is not a rematch, Carlos, because they're not in the Super Bowl. Okay? If the 49ers win, that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove that they should have won the Super Bowl last year. That doesn't prove anything. No, it doesn't prove anything at all. All it does is it proves that they can win in the regular season, but they can't win in the big games because they lost against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are the Super Bowl champs, not the 49ers. I hate this whole, it's a Super Bowl rematch. No, it's not. It's not the Super Bowl. It's Week 7.
You make a point. It's still a rematch for the Chiefs. But you do make a point. It is Week 7. On the blip of the whole thing, I'd rather win the Super Bowl than Week 7.
Yes.
So they're good there. KC is starting right out of the gate. Ravens kicking us off this year should be an awesome game.
Yeah.
It's good. I feel like for some reason the NFL just got a lot better this year. And I don't know if it's the draft and all the new quarterbacks coming in. I feel like for myself it's more exciting than being a Dolphins fan. We're playing the Packers on Thanksgiving. Come on, man. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, they played the Packers a couple of years ago on Thanksgiving, too.
They did.
Or no, it wasn't on Christmas.
Christmas.
It was Christmas. Yeah, it was Christmas.
Yeah. And then, it's going to be a good year. And you have the Harbaugh brothers going at it.
On Monday night, Week 12. The Harbaugh Bowl is going to be back. And that should be a good game to watch. Now, and it's going to be Week 12. Once you hit Week 10, 11, 12, right in that range, you're really starting to look at, playoff picture, divisional leaders, who's going to win, who's in a spot to win the division, what's the seeding look like in the conference. Now we're really starting to see what teams are standing out to be true contenders for the year and what teams are maybe thinking about next year's draft.
It's going to be interesting because it's always, when you see the brothers go at it, you always get the mom on the stand with the hats, the jerseys. And you don't know what the Chargers are going to look like. Like they should be a different team. Yeah, should be physical. They go with Joe Alt, so that's the game plan. But the same thing with the Ravens. The Harbaughs have that style. We're going to be physical. So we know it's going to be a physical game. I think the Ravens probably take it, but we don't know what the Chargers are going to look like.
We don't, but again, it's going to be Week 12, so I feel like the Chargers or both teams, right? Because we want to talk about the Chargers and we want to talk about Derek Fitzgerald. Let's not forget, Baltimore Ravens got Derrick Henry, in the backfield, that workhorse, So it should be good, and it's Monday Night Football. Like it's Monday Night Football.
It is, and kind of going back to Derrick Henry, I think he gets lost sometimes in where he landed in free agency. Could there not be a more perfect place for him to go? They don't throw the ball to the running back. It's just run, and then Lamar run.
Yeah,
and then where's the tight end? Yeah, that's it. That team, it's going to be a little scary if they can get some balls. If they can catch some balls at those receivers, that's a tough one. Yeah, and then you got the Bills. Stephon Diggs is going to be
Stephon Diggs is going and playing the Bills. Now, let's see. I'm trying to see. So it's going to be week 5. What is the over on? Is Stephon Diggs going to be complaining at week 5?
I can tell you what it's going to look like. He's going to go up to this young quarterback and say, CJ, you did really well. But if you don't feed me the ball this week in week 5, I'm going on social media.
I'm going on social media.
I think he has a good game against them. I think there's it's going to linger, build up. Man, that's going to be a big game.
But and to flip it now, week 5. By that time, there should be some chemistry between Allen and Coleman, right? So now it's going to be Allen maybe trying to force feed Coleman to be like, hey, I don't miss Diggs that.
So it could go 2 different ways, I think, with the Bills. If chemistry doesn't get built, you're going to see Josh, and he's going to be improvising on a license.
What he does all the time.
He does. And I think that he does it good. He does it well. So I think you're probably going to see more of Allen trying to take over this year. It's going to be the year where he was. I think he's going to take a lot on and take some big hits this year.
Right. But speaking of injury, if you're a Jets fan, are you really upset with the schedule makers? Because the Jets are opening up on Monday night yet again against the 49ers.
There's going to be a big headline in the New York Gazette or New York Times, and it's just going to say deja, and it's going to show Aaron again. Maybe holding the other Achilles tendon.
Oh, no.
And that could be worst case scenario.
But it's not going to be in that.
It won't. But that's like the worst headline that they could see. But it's a little ironic. Let's put this guy back on a star now. I get it. Aaron Rodgers, everybody wants to see what this guy can do, but don't be surprised if you see deja vu.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's going to be deja vu. I think that Aaron Rodgers, I know that he did like an experimental thing there, but he seemed to have really done the right, or not necessarily done the right thing, but he took rehab very seriously. He tried this new experimental surgery out, where they tried something new. It seemed to have helped. I mean, let's not forget, we were talking, if the Jets were in a position where they were in the playoffs, we could have seen Aaron Rodgers come back. But obviously Zach Wilson, unfortunately, he's going to get the job done. And, but with the 49ers and the Jets, let's just kind of stay on that. That's the debut Monday night game of the season. Okay? We have the Jets, who were supposed to be the team last year, almost like the Cinderella team. That ended up being the Detroit Lions because they were thinking about that. And then you have Brock Purdy and the 49ers coming off a very heartbreaking loss in the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs. And Brock Purdy and the 49ers, they've been very successful. Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers have been very successful. With what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have been able to build there in San Fran, but they're going to go up. It's going to be almost like 2 teams who are going to try and prove themselves because they didn't get what they got last. They didn't like what they got last.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a low scoring game, especially the first half. I could see a 6-3. You got the Jets defense is awesome, very good. The San Francisco is awesome. And then now you've got Rodgers back. There has to be a little bit of nerves. I mean, I know he's going to be one of the greats. Yeah. Has to be some nerves. It is in San Fran. So weather shouldn't be an issue at that time, but with rain or anything. But I feel like that's going to be a defensive game. Like, I don't expect them to come out scoring. I mean, the Jets have all the weapons to score with. They've got Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall on there. And, I mean, they've got weapons to do it. But so does San Francisco. So they've got Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, Kittle, and a pretty good stable. But I still see that as a
better offensive line, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good defensive game, but who the hell knows? We might see a 21-30 score.
I just want us all, if you are listening to this and as a football fan, we are in the dead of the off season. This is the suckiest part about being an NFL fan. But let's just take it on. Let's just hear that Monday night countdown. music. Oh, just so beautiful. You see the Jets, you see the 49ers, you see Aaron Rodgers taking the field. Oh, it's going to be so. Do you watch the paying cast or do you watch the regular broadcast? Like with the Buck and.
I started last year doing both, so I have the game on.
If they have good guests, I'll watch it.
They when they do, yes. But then they get a little distracting, and then I find
myself get so angry, which is what I'm here for. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, talk to them really quick. I have to go and draw something.
Imagine if him and you would know every play before it happens. It would be like the biggest score. Like, this is going to be a run to the left and safety will probably tap.
Well, speaking of former quarterbacks going into the broadcast booth, Tom Brady is going to make his debut, and it's going to be with the Dallas Cowboys and Cleveland Browns. I want to know the NFL schedule makers because it's Tom Brady's first game in the booth, and you put him with the Dallas Cowboys and it's not an exciting game.
It's not. It's maybe they're thinking America's team with America's NFL sweetheart. I don't know. He can't be happy about that. It's the Cleveland Browns. I don't even know who their starting quarterback is. It going to be Watson? Is Flacco going to come back in the mix?
James Winston?
No, James Winston. No, not James.
James Winston can be on the sideline.
It'd be interesting to see what comments he has. So it's not the game where you would have thought Brady would.
And I saw somewhere online that Doug Olsen is taking 7.
He got kind of a promotion.
He kind of did, which sucks because I really like Greg.
Yeah,
I think he was really
good. He was definitely good. One that I'm kind of interested to see in Week 8 is going to be pick 1 and 2 going at it. Williams, Caleb, and Daniels. They're both going to have a bunch of games under the belt. Man, it's going to be interesting to see where they're at in their season. Caleb, I think, has a better team overall, but
wait, you think that Jalen has the better team?
No, Caleb. Caleb
okay.
has
I was
the better team.
I don't know about that.
Especially on offense, but it's Caleb Williams, Caleb JT Daniels. But to see those two go at it, it's always good to see 1 and 2 match up and go at it.
He's going to have more rushing out of those two. I'm going to put money on Daniels just because I think Caleb has so many weapons to throw to. I understand that the offensive line for the Bears isn't necessarily something to really boast about, but I think that Caleb, and like you said, it's going to be weekend, right in the middle of the season. They have, rookie minicamp, OTAs, preseason, they have all of this. Then they have 7 weeks to build that rapport with these receivers, with their new team, to be that leader in the locker room that every quarterback needs to be. So we're really going to start to see. Actually, we really should see if the team is rallying or if the team is like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think the more what are you doing is, it's hard to say with Washington because they have Eckler, they have Scary Terry.
Yeah.
They've got pieces that he can be successful behind them, but it's still Washington. But then you have the Bears. They've got maybe a top 5 receiving core.
Yeah.
And then it's Caleb. I still think Caleb's going to have a phenomenal year. If he doesn't, I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's over 4,000 yards.
He breaks the curse?
I think he does. I think he does. I mean, Dunze, Moore, Allen, Cole, at tight end, he doesn't have to hold the ball long. And this guy has arm angles like Mahomes. I watched him on a play where he's faking and he throws behind the running back to a wide receiver running an out pattern. I think he has a big year. I think he's going to surprise. I don't know if the Bears have a big year in a sense of the win-loss record, but I think he has
I mean, it should be interesting to see. I definitely think that Caleb Williams is going to be the winner of that game. I do think that Caleb Williams is going to be the winner of that game. Caleb Williams, I don't know, man. I want to say that it's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year, but I'm thinking about all these wide receivers that just came into the league. I'm thinking one of them has got to hit big for some crazy, 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns or something crazy like that. What if it's Robin Dunze? Maybe it's I I mean, because you have Keenan Allen, you have DJ Moore. Those two guys you can't necessarily just forget about.
No, 100%.
You know, so then you have Ron Dunze there in the slot. He could, I mean, dude, he could be Caleb's favorite target.
He could. I mean, the young guys always tend, and they're both in rookie mini camps now.
Yep.
So they're building that chemistry. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Another one I think super interesting is Kirk Cousins going home. Back to the Vikings.
Back to the Vikings, you know. And so, and who's going to be the starter? Penix or no, I'm just kidding. If Kirk Cousins isn't the starter this entire year.
I was watching video of him at minicamp, and nobody could catch the ball from Penix. He was throwing it so hard. It's the most drop balls I've seen, and just nobody could catch it.
Well, let's just.
And he looked good.
He did look good. Well, Penix has that. I've said it from all last year. I said it all last year. I feel like Penix had the most, I feel like Penix had the most pro-ready arm out of the entire college class. Caleb Williams is definitely up there. I really like the way that Caleb Williams can throw the ball. He has the different angles, like you just said. But I just feel like Penix is just, I mean, he has a very ugly throwing motion. But so did Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers did find some success in the NFL. Unfortunately, he never, got a Super Bowl ring. He probably could have traded one of his kids for a Super Bowl ring. He
could spare a few.
Yeah, he could maybe spare a few. Yeah, so, but I mean, if you think about it, think about the quarterbacks that have been with the Atlanta Falcons for the past couple of years. It was Ritter. I think they got Tyler Heineke there for a little bit as well.
And Mariota.
Yeah, Mariota. So it wasn't these guys who could really sling the ball, Not like, and if they're having a hard time, Kirk Cousins can spin it too.
He can. He's a good quarterback. He's tough. Depends on how he comes back from that injury. We're going to see. My question is, when they say his name, is he booed? Kirk? Is Kirk get booed in Minnesota, or is?
Oh.
I feel like he gave him everything he could give.
I think because it's going to be week 14, it's going to be a full year, and it's going to be, is J.J. McCarthy going to be good enough to have Minnesota forget about Kirk? Because if not, he might get a standing ovation.
So he might. We're going to see McCarthy, Sam. That's maybe one of them.
I think by week 14, no matter who starts at the beginning of the year, either J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold, I think by week 14, McCarthy's in.
Yeah, I think I agree with you a little bit. I think they're going to start out with Donald and see how that goes. Unless he's ripping it. Like, if he's killing it, they write him out. But if he's, and they're sitting in, they're not going to make the playoffs, let's throw him in. See what happens.
I don't know if they're. The Minnesota Vikings are such an interesting team going into this year because you had Kirk Cousins, right? And Kirk Cousins, I get it. He hasn't won a playoff game. The whole thing with primetime Kirk, he's not good in primetime games. Good for him. This is a 1 p.m. game. So, I mean, he should do well. He should be okay. But they've always been like right there. They've been kind of like that little like no-see him, just kind of like always hanging around. You always got to kind of swat them away, but then they come back.
I feel like you're right. They're very interesting because they arguably have, is it 1A, B, 1 or C wide receiver in the league with Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
They have Addison on the other side who's really good. You have T.J. Hawkinson who's
They added Aaron Jones in the backfield.
Yeah. And they finally, I feel like they got a running back that not any knocks on Dalvin Cook, but Aaron Jones has been killing it at Green Bay.
Yeah.
And he's younger. I think he's an upgrade. So they have the offense. The problem, I think, Minnesota is they just never have the defense. They never have like that.
Well, now let's look at the defensive side though of the ball. I mean, they went with J.J. McCarthy, and then they went up and they got the steal of the first round with Dallas Thomas.
Good job.
Way to go. Good on you. So, but it should be an interesting matchup. I'm going to take the Falcons with that one. As a Tampa guy, I hate to say that. It just kind of and it feels really, really bad coming out of my mouth. But I think the Falcons at this point, week 14, they're going to be in some sort of a playoff hunt because as much as I love the Tampa Bay Bucks, as much as I love what they've been able to do this offseason, keeping all the pieces around, Winfield Jr. just got paid, so they're keeping him now long term. They were able to keep Mike Evans. Baker's coming into his second year with them. And I saw an interview with Jason Light where he just, dude, he's a football guy. Like, he keeps grudges. Like, he legit keeps grudges against people who are just like, yeah, don't count us. Don't count us in. Yeah, we'll lose the division, although we've won it the past 3 seasons. So, but the Falcons at week 14, they should be in the spot where they're kind of looking where they're either fighting for a divisional spot, to be the number 1 seed, or they're looking for some sort of wild card. I'm probably thinking that's going to be a divisional spot because I don't know if any team in the NFC South is going to run with it.
No, I don't. I feel like the NFC is going to be between Cowboys, Eagles, and those teams. It's going to be. I feel like you need one.
I feel like that the NFC East always produces at least 2 or 3 playoffs. It is. They every single year. It's the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys. A couple of years ago, New York Giants snuck in there. Are they going to do that this year? No. But then you have the Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn, first year head coach. They got Daniels at quarterback. They added a bunch of pieces in the offseason, that should add value to them. So it's like, are they that 3rd seed that sneaks into the wild card? Because if you look at the rest of the NFC, I mean, who are the top contenders in the NFC? Yeah,
I mean, we're still not there, at least. You got to put the Eagles. I think the Eagles had a good year. So, yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's not. I mean, they seem to get there. It's just they're don't have to wrestle.
Well, now over the past couple of seasons, they've been able to really kind of put it together and make a little bit of a playoff.
The Lions, man.
The Packers are interesting this year. They came out of nowhere. I felt like last year.
Like that's one of those things where you see like some of these teams like Minnesota, like they have pieces, but it just takes that gel. And the Packers gelled, and then they just took off.
Yeah, and they're still, I think, one of the youngest teams, if not the youngest team in the NFL.
It's like getting count the Rams. Lawrence Stafford's back there slinging. I don't count the Rams.
Yeah, okay, so the NFC is pretty loaded. So really, if you look at the NFC South, then one team is getting into the playoffs, and that's going to be whoever the winner is.
We talked about this. You didn't like my answer. I still think it's going to be Atlanta, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Carolina Panthers going 1-16.
The fact that you put the Saints at number 2, what do they have?
They had the same record as the Bucks last year.
Does not matter. They suck. I'm just going to say that, and yes.
Is that the team that Tampa hates the most?
That is the team that Tampa hates the most. It's the Saints. It is the Saints. They are the most obnoxious fan base in the entire NFL. I cannot stand them. Like everything about it. I don't even like Derek Carr. And who do they have? Okay, they have Chris Olave. Cool.
They've got some pieces.
Alvin Kamara is, one nightclub away from being suspended indefinitely. So it's like, and he's not what he was.
It's going to be interesting to see, for sure. I want to get your blood boiling, too.
Dude, you get me talking about
and you got the Bears.
The Bears can sneak in, but they're in the NFC North. The NFC North is a division.
It's a good division.
That's a division to watch this year.
Once we get into the AFC, yeah. I don't know if there's one division that's like, damn, they're just tough teams. You got the Ravens in there. Cleveland. Flacco. They still have Flacco.
I think Deshaun Watson's going to be their guy with that guarantee.
Man, that guy's going to.
I don't think he is. They guaranteed him money. They're not going to let him go.
I just don't think he wants to play. I think he's got his money and he just Watch his hamstring.
I don't think that's him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Speaking of guys we don't like,
Russell Wilson. Let's just jump right into it. Russell Wilson is going to be facing the Broncos week 2.
me too.
If he's not already been.
It's probably the Steelers will probably win that game pretty handily. I just don't know if it's just as a Russell Wilson.
I don't know either.
I don't think it's the Russell Wilson effect. I just feel like the score is probably going to. I don't know if the Broncos will score. That's going to be the only issue with that game. The defense, Pittsburgh's nasty. So.
You don't think Bo Nix and Sean Payton? Bo Nix does kind of remind me a little bit about Drew Brees.
Nah.
I think that's why Sean Payton picked him.
Secondly, rookie quarterback, Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The only advantage he has is that home. At least he has the home crowd. And there's a hospital nearby, Denver Stadium, so they can get him there.
But it's not a home crowd because if you know anything about the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers fans travel.
They do travel.
They travel in busloads.
It's yeah.
We're gonna see more terrible towels in the stands there at Mile High than I think that they're really prepared for. So
let's go back for a second. You've seen the Bucs schedule.
I have seen the Bucs schedule.
If right now, as biased as you can, what do you think their record is?
Right, hold on. Let me break this down.
I will say one thing: if you're a season ticket holder this year, your home games are terrible to choose from. There's only like 2 games.
Let me break this down. Okay, let's pick that up. So we got the Commanders, Lions, then Detroit. That's it. Baker is not going to throw one pick. I'll make a $5 bet he doesn't.
Baker's a good.
Jared Careful. $50 million?
Dude, is he worth $50 million?
Yes.
50?
Yes. If I'm the Detroit Lions, and I had the year that they had last year, let me tell you something. Everyone wants to talk about this trade. Oh, okay, we're gonna get into it.
If you're a Detroit Lions fan, put in the comments, is he worth $50 million?
Yeah. I don't think that there's going to be one Detroit fan that says no, because they tasted the Super Bowl last year. They were right there, and I get it. And let's be honest, just like what George Kittle said, they had him in the first half. They're not going, and then they did rally back. Jared Goff, though, if you look at this trade from Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, they are almost identical every step across the board.
Except for one.
I get it.
He has a Super Bowl.
That he was, thanks to Aaron Donald. Let's just be honest.
I just think Goff is a good quarterback. It's a thing that a guy.
Would you rather have paid Jared Goff $50 million or Kirk Cousins? That's the question. Leave that in the comments below. Who would you rather have right now on your team? Would you rather have a $45 million a year Kirk Cousins, or would you rather have a $50 million a year? Is it $50 million?
$50 million.
God, stand it, man.
4 years, $212 million, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's $50 million.
That's crazy. So who would you guys rather have? Would you rather have Jared Goff at the price tag that he's at, or Kirk Cousins at the price tag that he's at? Because that should be a fun debate right there in the comments. That should be a good one. I would take Jared Goff. Because at least Jared Goff hasn't played.
Yeah, 4 years, $212 million. $73 million signing bonus. 170 of it guaranteed, which is insane. These, it used to be with
these guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's not like that's never been the NFL, like the guaranteed, like all the rookie contracts that are going out this year, fully guaranteed, especially those top 15 picks. It's crazy this guaranteed money that's going on. Thank you, Deshaun Watson. They should be calling that guy. But that's a great question. Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins on the Detroit team, quarterback in the Lions. Now being a Dolphins fan, what's to it? Is he a $50 million guy? I don't think there's any guy worth $50 million.
Patrick Mahomes.
I'll tell you that. Mahomes.
Mahomes.
But other than that, and being a Dolphins fan, I don't know if I can justify Tua getting 50 million. But if
But I also don't see Miami trying to break the bank with Tua. I think that they'll be fair.
I think he's going to get that money. I mean, the precedent's set. They're about to sign Waddle to a big extension. Yeah. And the salary cap's going up again. So,
well, I mean, the NFL is a good bit. Yeah, the NFL.
And the big serious football.
Seriously. Or teach them how to long snap, dude.
That's true.
Teach them how to long snap or kick a football. They'll have a really long career, very few injuries, So, all right, we're going to go back. I'm looking at the Bucks. To be completely biased, I say we lose 7 to 8 games. So we'll be either 10-7 or 9-8. I think that's
9-8 win.
Yeah, I think 9-8 could win the division. I think 10-7 or 9-8 could win the division. And look, I split the series with the Falcons and the Saints because they always play us tough. I'm not too worried about Carolina. We have a little bit of a rough stretch where, like, dude, we got to play teams like the Lions. Lions, I feel like are going to be a really good game. It's going to be from Detroit. We got the Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to be a good one. So 2 playoff rematches right there. Baltimore Ravens, that's going to be tough. Chiefs, that's going to be tough. 49ers, that's going to be tough. Raiders, 50-50. Cowboys, 50-50, depending on, that's December 22nd in Dallas. Yeah, so, like Chargers, not too worried about. Giants, no. Panthers, no. Yeah, so I think 9-8.
It's respectable.
9-8 is respectable.
Well, put your team in there. First one to Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff. Which one to take and what you predict your team to go this year.
Yeah. Shout out your team. Who are they going? No 17-0. Right. Don't be doing it.
Dolphin fans, I got it. 12-5. Easy peasy. We win the East. We got it. 12-5 easy. 2 as an MVP.
You're out of your mind. You think that the Miami Dolphins are going to come out of the East with now a healthy Aaron Rodgers Jets
12-5
and a pissed off Josh Allen?
12-5. And they will win the East.
I think Bills or Jets could beat that. Yeah.
I think it was 13.
Dude, don't sleep on Drake May. No.
Dolphins have a very favorable schedule. The offense is going to be good. The defense is. People are sleeping on the defense a little bit. Their secondary is good. We did lose Xavier, but we signed Kyle Fuller. So you got Ramsey, Fuller. But in any football, injuries play a great deal in it. You can lose one player. But I think 12-5, 13-4 is not out of the question. We'll see.
That's right. What do you guys think? After seeing this NFL schedule, where do you see your team's record being at the end of the year? Do you see them get a playoff push? 2, how deep in the playoffs are they going to go? Is it this year that they really rally the troops and get all the way to the Super Bowl? Is this your team's year? We want to know. We want to know down in the comments. So let us know down there in the comments. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. We definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us. It was a little bit of a different episode. This was just me and Carlos rocking, so a little bit of back and forth. We probably rambled on a little bit, but hey, that's what you get when you get 2 idiots in the same room, So, but definitely hit us up on all of our social medias. All those links are down in the description below, so definitely hit us up on all those social medias. And, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. That's the best way to support us. We definitely appreciate you guys. Carlos?
And I'm glad that I get to do this ending. Scooter normally does this. But Scooter, apologize now. I'm excited. This is the new talk. Beardzone Talk.
Ooh.
Go ahead and I'm going to end this out.
We appreciate you guys. We will see you guys next Friday at 11 a.m. We're going to be talking NHL, NBA, and whatever football topics that we can talk about. But until next Friday,
Beardzone Sports Talk.
let's go.